Tuesday, Pace Eagles. I'm Mr. Starcher.
And I'm Gabrielle Mason. Students, we are only a few days away from spring break and I'm so excited!
Well, you should be. I know the teachers and I are also excited for spring break.
Students and staff, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Pace Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We at Pace pledge to treat everyone with fairness, kindness, and respect.
To begin today's show, we're going back in time to learn about a former president.
Followed by the backstories of cartoon characters with Aiden Wilson.
Hello, Pace Eagles, and welcome back to the History of Presidents with Colin Higgerson. The president you will be hearing about today is the man the Kennedy Space Center is named after, John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was born in Brookline, Massachusetts on May 29, 1917. As a child, he suffered from multiple illnesses. One of them, Addison's disease, almost killed him. Later in life, he became stronger and went on to play football and was on the swim team at Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. During his college days, he permanently injured his back and never fully recovered from the injury. He graduated from college in 1940, and the following year, he joined the U.S. Naval Reserve. He was an officer in World War II, which was commanding PT boats in the Pacific Theater. He survived a sinking of the PT-109 and rescued his fellow sailors by pulling them through the water to an island. He was recognized as a hero for this. Towards the end of World War II, Kennedy was elected to the House of Representatives in 1947, where he was representing a working-class Boston district for 6 years. After that, he was elected to the U.S. Senate and served as a senator for 7 years. During those 7 years, he wrote his book called Profiles in Courage, for which he won a Pulitzer Prize. Then, John F. Kennedy officially ran for the 1960 presidential election and defeated Richard Nixon. His campaign gained momentum after the first televised political debates in U.S. history. Due to this, he won the election and became the first Catholic to ever be president of the United States. His administration included high tensions with communist states during the Cold War. He increased the number of military administrators in Vietnam. He also authorized operations to overthrow the Cuban government of Fidel Castro. In October of 1962, American spy planes discovered Soviet missile bases in Cuba. The period tensions termed the Cuban Missile Crisis, and that nearly resulted in a breakout of global thermonuclear conflict. Thankfully, John F. Kennedy signed the first nuclear weapon treaty in October of 1963. John F. Kennedy presided over the establishment of Peace Corps, Alliance for Progress, and the continuation of the program of a landing man on the moon. The Americans were fascinated with President Kennedy and his young family. They were the first presidential family to appear a lot on television, which was new to the U.S., and people loved to hear about the first family. Unfortunately, on November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald while riding in a convertible in a parade in Dallas, Texas. After his death, there was a big shock and mourning across America as people learned the news. Lyndon Johnson became president after Kennedy, and the Vietnam conflict continued. That's all for today, Pace Eagles. See you next time.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
You guessed it. This month's character is SpongeBob SquarePants. You may not know that SpongeBob's creator, Steven Hillenburg, was a marine biologist. He taught the subject at the California Orange County Marine Institute. Hillenburg first dipped into comics by writing The Intertidal Zone, which was a campus comic book about sea life. It features a joyful sponge character named Bob the Sponge, which looked like a real sea sponge. His students loved the comic, and he tried to make it into a real comic, like your Batman comics, but there were no publishers interested. Hillenburg then became an animator and worked at Nickelodeon. He came up with an idea for a main character called Sponge Boy, and the show was originally called Sponge Boy Ahoy. Then he found out the name was already copyrighted by a brand of mops, so he changed Sponge Boy to Sponge Bob, and Sponge Bob was born. Hillenburg wanted to use the shape of a natural sea sponge, but decided that a squeaky clean square like a kitchen sponge would be funnier and better portray a nerdy personality. The SpongeBob SquarePants series first premiered on Nickelodeon in 1999 and quickly became one of television's most popular shows. SpongeBob appeared in some form in every episode of the series. He is voiced by Tom Kenny, who is married to Jill Talley, who is actually the voice of Karen, the computer wife of Plankton, SpongeBob's nemesis. How crazy is that? I hope they like each other in real life. SpongeBob SquarePants aired for 13 seasons so far, and has more than 270 episodes, and is not stopping anytime soon. The show has renewed for the season 14 and has many spin-off shows, including the Patrick Star Show, so stay tuned.
Well, matey, that's the backstory of cartoon characters for you. Here are my sources. See you real soon. Ha 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 ha.
Next up on today's show, we have the latest edition of Attraction Graveyard with Connor McBride.
Welcome back to the Attraction Graveyard by Connor McBride. Today we will be hopping aboard the Nautilus as we discuss 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Its location was Fantasyland Magic Kingdom. The plot of the ride was that Captain Nemo was taking guests on a tour of the deep in his submarine. Guests would board one of the 12 Nautilus submarines and begin their journey, first passing through coral reefs and their life. As the subs entered the show building, the subs would dive into the deep sea, encountering rock canyons, lost ships, and icebergs. After that, the subs would enter the lost city of Atlantis, spotting mermaids and sea serpents before rising up. Before rising fully, they would spot another submarine being attacked by a giant squid, before an electric discharge causes the squid to swim away. After this, the sub would surface and guests would unload at the ride would be open until October 14th, 1994. So now we ask the question, why did it close? Well, the attraction was a beast to operate. It didn't help that refurbishments would take longer than most attractions. Another was guest capacity. There were only 2 docks, one for spare subs, the other one being the main loading area. And for people with crutches or in wheelchairs, they would have to be manually hoisted down. This would back up the queue line if you think. Another reason was the failure of Euro Disney and the consequential budget cuts and scrapped plans. Now I have a flight to catch to get to Horizons. I'll see you all next time.
Navigation check. All routes. Final sequence initiated. Travel bulkheads. Double checking bulkheads. will now transfer to Rocket Command.
Attention all students, the kickball game is this Wednesday and Kona Ice will be there.
If you would like to purchase some Kona Ice, be sure to bring some cash.
To close today's show, here are the White Dove Award winners.
Quote of the day
And birthdays!
Life doesn't require that we be the best, only that we try our best. By H. Jackson Brown, Jr.
It looks like we've come to the end of our show.
See you tomorrow, Eagles, for another episode of PNN.
Bye.